What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. If you want to see that daily Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell as well if you want to get notified every single time we upload a brand new video. Now, this is going to be, I don't know, I don't want to say return because, it's been relatively consistent recently, but the Trust the Bank podcast is back. I was traveling a lot over the last couple weeks, so it was very difficult to get those episodes out. We were still going live, but this will be a podcast episode. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching the first segment talking about the cornerback position battle, and you want to hear about wide receiver, you want to hear about safety, immediately you can go check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, wherever you listen to your podcast. Check it out there. Listen to the rest of the segments. If you're listening on Spotify or watching on Spotify, because Spotify has video now, you can check out the YouTube channel and all the other social medias as well. But Joshua, let's get right into it. When you look at the Ravens roster, would you say the cornerback position is the biggest battle going on right now? Because we really only know, the top maybe 4 guys on that depth chart. And it is a position that we always are in need of.
You know what the funny thing is? I feel like we are in the same position that we were last year, deep with a lot of talent. I mean, you got Pepe Williams, you got Jalyn Armour-Davis, MP the Juice Man is coming back. You got Marlowe coming back from injury, healthy and strong, leading the pack. Who else? We just brought him back, the Baltimore native, Kyle Fuller. So I mean, the Brandon Stevens, who actually will be the dark horse between corner and safety. So I mean, definitely look out for him. So everybody was like, well, people could be like, well, our starting 3 corners is going to be Kyle Fuller, Marlowe, and MP the Juice Man, and possibly could be, but you never know how these young men can come out there and show that they want to win and get on the field as well. Especially my favorite, Pepe Williams. I think me and you both like him just. Yep. Because he's gritty, he got that dog in him, and he just, he's a hungry guy. And for the simple fact that you don't see too many under 6 foot corners and play like they're 6'2", 6'3". So he has a chip on his shoulder. He knows what it feels like to be undersized and be underestimated, but he's always been able to play big. Oh, excuse me, I forgot to go. Iman Marshall,
Thank you.
He's going to be helping for this training camp as well. And we're going to be getting one of our Pro Bowler corners as an intern coach in Kerry Williams. I know people loved him as a number 2 corner when he got his start and got his stride. And I know he's going to groom these young men to be, Pro Bowlers and, Hall of Famers.
Yeah. And when you're looking at the secondary, obviously the top guys we know. We know, like you said, we know Marlon, we know Marcus Peters. Obviously we're hoping that we can get Kyle Fuller back to, he's wearing number 18. His best season was 2018. Get 2018 Kyle Fuller with the Ravens. But everybody else is a major question mark. Now, there's not a question mark at their talent. Jalyn Armour-Davis coming out of Alabama, very talented. Pepe Williams seems to have, that dog in him that we've been looking for at the cornerback spot. Iman Marshall, very talented coming out of USC, has not had the opportunity due to injuries, but he's a physical, big body cornerback with good athleticism that can get after it. So, figuring out, and then we also have the transition cornerbacks, the Brandon Stevens of the world that can maybe come in and play nickel. And so there's a lot of guys right now fighting for spots that are wild cards, complete wild cards. There's also guys like Kevon Seymour and Robert Jackson, who I believe are both still on the team. Robert Jackson, I'm not as sure of, but I believe Kevon Seymour is definitely on the team still.
Yeah, I think Kevon still is on the team. My bad.
Yeah.
Very far.
But, he is someone where it's okay, we know what he's going to be. He's going to be okay, depth. That's really all he's going to bring. He's not going to surprise anyone, go out there and lock up and clamp a wide receiver. But then we also have undrafted free agents like Denzel Williams out of Villanova, who was the ultimate wild card. There's not even scouting profiles on Denzel Williams coming out of college. I remember when I was doing that video, I was like, man, all that I could find was he ran a great 40-yard dash. Like, that was the only thing. And they were like, yeah, he ran a great 40. And I'm like, that doesn't help me in figuring out if this guy can play.
Right.
But, like, there are so many guys right now fighting for these spots in different positions coming into a new system. Because, like, in the previous seasons, we've known if you're going to play cornerback for the Baltimore Ravens, you got to play press man coverage. That is Wink's defense.
Right.
So we'd get a guy that's like, okay, he's a zone cornerback. And we'd be like, he probably won't fit in very well. Well, now, if they're, more heavy into zone and maybe they're not as physical, Mike McDonald may be looking for that. He may be looking to run the cover 3 bail coverage that Seattle used to play in the Legion of Boom and stuff like that. Like, it's so, there's so many different options that the Ravens can go. They're going to see who the best players are, and then they're going to formulate the defense based off of that, I think. I don't think Mike Williams is going to come in and say, no, we're not going to utilize your strengths. He's going to figure out the strength and utilize them to the best. So who has the strongest strengths? Who is the best at what they do? And that's going to be what ends up making the roster.
No, and I definitely agree with that. I mean, the interesting part, if you all seen the earlier clips in the rookie training I'm getting tongue-tied. In the rookie training camp, sorry guys. You heard Mike, you see Chris Hewitt, looking at certain guys, you see how they get out the fluidity, how they get out in and out their breaks, the hips, the hip movement, things of that nature. I mean, it's lovely to see, how this defense is going to be shaped up because, I mean, yes, we, Ravens defense is built on being nasty and agile, but at the same time, it hasn't helped us. We've been nasty, but we've been whiffing a lot. We've been DTMing in the words of McConnell, so it's now I'm not going to say Wink was a terrible defensive coordinator. I'm never going to take that away. Wink did when he had the right pieces. He dialed up some great schemes. But I feel like his predecessor or protege, in other words, is going to take it a step further. He is going to use these young men and older guys, the vets, and use them to the best of their ability, like you said. So I definitely look forward to seeing us going from press cover man-to-man defense to possibly zone, and maybe switching up situational. Even before that Sunday, or even in mid game, in order for us to be in a better position for us to win. So I definitely love the task and challenge that's going to be presented to these young corners, and I hope they just rise to the occasion.
Yeah, and so let's take a look at the guys and try and figure out a couple of things. One, how many corners are going to make the roster?
I think we get 6.
You think 6 cornerbacks? And then who are those 6 guys?
Yeah, I mean, I would say 6 just up the strength of last year. I mean, I'm of course, it's going to be Marlowe, MP3 the Juice Man, Marcus Peters, Kyle Fuller. I see Jalyn Armour-Davis making it.
Yeah.
I actually see Pepe Williams actually beating guys out.
Yeah.
And I'm going with Brandon. And I'm going with Brandon Stevens, depending where they line them up, because Brandon Stevens is the dark horse of that secondary, because you can line them up either at corner or nickel, or even at the safety position. So having a guy back there that can play multiple positions at a young age, it actually benefits us in the defense that they're trying to work on creating.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Ravens have 7 corners on the roster because I do think they have Brandon Stevens, and he's kind of the hybrid guy. So he's out. So outside of Brandon Stevens, I'll go with 6. Obviously, Marlon, Marcus. I'll hold up the numbers so then you guys can count with me. Marlon, Marcus, Kyle Fuller. Those are the knowns. I think Jalyn Armour-Davis makes it. I think Pepe Williams makes it. Then it comes down to the most intriguing battle, because now it's veterans. I'm sorry to Denzel Williams. I'm sorry to David Vereen. I don't think they're very likely to make it. But I do think that it'll come down to Kevon Seymour and Amon Marshall. And I think the Ravens end up going with Amon Marshall for the simple fact that he could surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Kevon Seymour has, no chance of ever becoming a Pro Bowl cornerback. If he does, shout out to him. I would love to see it. But I don't think he's that type of player. I think he's a good depth piece to have.
Yeah.
But Mr. Amon Marshall could have a Deshaun Elliott type of, I'll say, entrance into the NFL, because Deshaun Elliott came in, same round, I believe. I think they were both fourth or fifth round picks.
Yeah. Came
in and kept getting hurt, and everyone was like, but for some reason, nobody gave up on Deshaun Elliott, and everyone gave up on Amon Marshall. But both were very physical, athletic prospects. And then all of a sudden, Deshaun Elliott finally stayed healthy, and he had a great season in his first year, which was like his third or fourth year in the NFL. I think the same thing could happen with Amon Marshall, where if he stays healthy, he knows the guys around him.
Mm-hmm.
He's been working with them. He's been training with Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters. He's been in the lab talking with them, learning from them, getting their expertise. He's been, we don't hear a lot about it, but I'm sure he's been mentoring and talking with and helping guide the younger guys that have come in, more recent than he did. He just hasn't got the opportunity to get onto the field, but if he does, we still don't know what he could be. Now, maybe he's terrible, but also maybe he comes out like Deshaun Elliott and has a Pro Bowl potential type of season where it's like, okay, Ravens fans are like, hey, maybe this guy should make the Pro Bowl. But he would be cornerback 4, so it would be very difficult for that to happen. But overall, I think I would rather have him on the team because we can get him to do something that we may not get to see. And if he doesn't obviously stay healthy, then Kevon Seymour, the Ravens can bring it. But the Ravens can find a Kevon Seymour in the free agents.
Yeah.
You can find a back-end roster spot cornerback, if someone gets hurt. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be very disappointed if Amon Marshall doesn't make the team and he gets picked up by another team. They play him, he's healthy, and he looks pretty good. That's going to be very frustrating. Whereas Kevon Seymour, we're not going to be like, it's not going to be a Darren Waller, I cannot believe we let this guy go. I cannot believe it. It's like, no.
What if we don't pick him up and he goes to the Giants and wait?
Oh man.
Oh man. But you know what? I honestly, I like the point that you made about Amon Marshall. Like, yes, I know I get tired of him personally because there was a lot of potential in him. But I mean, him playing one preseason game versus Deshaun Elliott and the amount of preseason games that Deshaun Elliott played, we actually saw the flashes. So I mean, that's why I never gave up on Deshaun Elliott. Like I said, okay, well, we got Deshaun Elliott. Deshaun Elliott is a banger. He's a real thumper. He can go after the ball. But I mean, if you ever watch a UFC game when Amon Marshall was there, he was legit that guy. So I mean, like you said, if he can stay healthy, we can keep him on the team. He can beat out some of these guys in that battle. I definitely feel like he can beat Kevon Seymour with his eyes closed. He just got to stay healthy, and if he stays healthy and really makes his presence known, I'm all for it. I would love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a position that you get to tell a lot more about from watching the games. It's very difficult to watch a game and be like, wow, that third string defensive lineman really stepped up. That's a lot more difficult to tell watching preseason and watching training camp is how good the defensive linemen are. But cornerback, you can tell. Now, even if they're playing, in the third, fourth quarter of the preseason game where, the guys may not be, number one wide receivers, you can still tell if they're playing well. You can still tell if, hey, this third round pick from, the Tennessee Titans was locked up. We saw Chris Westry in preseason last year. He looked phenomenal. And it was like, okay, here's a guy that we like. And I felt like he played all right for the Ravens when he ended up getting healthy again, because I think maybe after the first or second preseason game he got hurt. Or maybe it was in the beginning of the regular season. I can't remember exactly when. But overall, there's a lot of players that we'll get to see. And we'll get to see the rookies in, Pepe and Jalyn Armour-Davis. So it's going to be interesting to see. Hopefully, the right guys make the team. I don't want to have any situations where we're regretting getting rid of players or trading players away and then losing all of our cornerbacks in a span of like 2 weeks and then being like, oh no, we need Sean Wade.
Right.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens with them.